What is wind? Where does it come from? How does wind work? How is it created?
So there's a couple of principles that we need to know and understand before we understand how wind is created. The sun influences the temperature, and warm air is lighter than cold air. So if we start from the beginning, the sun is shining on the soil, which heats up the ground, and it also heats up the air. Warm air is lighter than cold air, so it rises, which makes room to be filled up with new air. So actually we create a circle. Warm air is rising, which needs to be filled up with cold air, and that's how wind is created. Wind can also occur when the air pressure differs. Pressure differences are caused by deviating temperatures in the air layers. The air flows from the area with the high air pressure to the area with the low air pressure. The difference in the air pressure is compensated and the wind is created.
How can I tell where wind comes from?
So, there are different techniques to know where the wind is coming from. We can lick our finger and feel where the wind is coming from. We can take a handful of sand and let it go slowly and just see where it goes to. And the last technique that we can do is we stand in the wind, and if the wind is coming, we hear it on one side, and slowly you start turning against the wind, and at one point there's sound and noise on both ears. And then you know I'm looking straight into the wind.
Does nature tell me where the wind is coming from?
Nature also gives us signs where wind comes from. We can look at a tree, we can look at the water, where the whitecaps are coming from, or we can even look at a flag.
What is a kite? There are two different types of kites. The most common kites are leading edge inflatable kites, often known as LEI kites, or like most people call them, tube or pump kites. To build the kite's frame, you must use a pump and inflate a bladder with air. In the air, it looks like a half moon, or a sad smiley. The other type of kite is called a foil kite or a ram air kite. The wind enters through an air intake, and the kite inflates itself and builds its structure by itself. It looks like a huge flying caterpillar, like imagining a caterpillar swallowing a lot of air. How does a kite fly? Both kites need lines attached to a control bar to control its power and lift. The wind collides with the leading edge and the flows above and below the sail along the profile. It works like an airplane. You control the power and steer the kite with your hands. What is kiting? Kiting is a sport that involves using wind power with a large power kite to pull a rider across water, land, or a snow surface. Kiting is a fun and versatile sport. If you can fly a kite, then there are no boundaries. You can use it with anything you can stand on, any type of board, skis, or even vehicles like buggies or mountain boards. Kiting is about exploring and playing with nature's forces. It is three-dimensional and comes close to flying, which we call jumping or boosting. You can also reach speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour or cover distances of 150 kilometers per day. What do I need for kiting? Wind, a kite, a control bar with a functioning safety system, a harness, protection wear, and any kind of board and enough space. You always want to protect yourself against the cold, sunshine, and wind. Therefore, the most common things to wear are a bikini, board shorts, or a wetsuit, sunglasses, sunscreen or sunblock, an impact vest, and a helmet. What is a wind window? The wind window is the area where your kite flies, and it is limited to your line length. Imagine a quarter of a watermelon or a half a bowl. We talk about 3 zones in the wind window, depending on where the kite sits. First, you need to know where the wind comes from. Your wind window is always in front of you, or leeward as we call it. Stretch your arms to get an idea where the wind window, edge, or neutral zone is. In this zone, the kite produces the least amount of power. We use it for launching, landing, parking, or walking with the kite. Imagine a clock. So we talk about starting all the way down at left at 9 o'clock, going up to 10, 11 o'clock, until we reach 12 o'clock, which is right above our head, followed by 1 and 2 o'clock, until we are all the way on the right side above the surface at 3 o'clock. In front of us, to the left and the right, we fly the kite into the soft zone. It generates motor rate power. This is the zone we use the most while we're walking right and left on the beach. Directly in front of us, about 45 degrees above surface, there is a power zone. We only use this zone for getting up on the board or when we do a jump. The maximum power is generated in that zone. Let's go! Please visit these websites for further information on the first steps on learning the sport and its requirements.